What's up, guys? Welcome back to Marvel's Avengers. It's your girl, the Hijabi Hermione, and today is a very special lore episode. We've done one of these lore episodes before where we sat and went through all of the Codex entries, but since then we've built up quite a lot more entries. So for the next, I don't know how long it'll take, for the next 20 to 40 minutes, typical episode length, we're literally just gonna sit and go through the Codex entries. So you don't need to watch this if you don't want to. If you're like here to see action, then this is not your kind of episode. But if you want to dig into some of the audio entries that we found, or some of the backstory, some of the details, kind of like, you know, like deep into the lore, if you're an RPG kind of person, this might be exactly the kind of episode for you. I do have another one that I did much earlier, and this is the second one, so make sure to check that out. I actually have a playlist for the entire game, so it's sitting there in the playlist. You'll see it. It's obvious. It's got like a different thumbnail from all the rest of the episodes, and I try to label these lore episodes quite clearly so people know what they're getting into when they get started. So we're just gonna jump straight in. I don't really have a sense of exactly how these work. I remember that the comics were just like things that you collected, so we'll have a quick look at that. Some of them didn't load last time. And then intelligence, I think, is all of like the audio entries, like, you know, the kind of stuff that you find when you're like exploring in Tomb Raider, for example. You can tell this is made by the same people. And then codex entries, which are the written stuff, like descriptions of things. So we'll go just in that order. We'll just quickly dive through all the comics. We have the Thor comic set. I can't remember if we've actually looked at any of these before, but we'll just go through them very quickly, have a nice look. So, oh, that must be like when he started his adventure. That was the Destroyer. Was that what it was called in the first Thor movie? Not sure. Oh, giant lizard guy. Okay, so there's a lot of comics here. Thor, God of Thunder. These are actually some really nice comics. I've been interested in trying comics at some point. Maybe this is a good excuse. And then you see here we have this problem where like the sets are not loading for some reason. I still don't know why. But it is what it is. See, Hulk is not loading. Iron Man's not loading. Ms. Marvel's not loading. And it's like random because when you reboot it, different ones load. So like literally none of these are loading. I don't know. Do you have to wait a certain amount of time? I don't know if I want to sit here waiting around. But yeah, let's just jump straight into the intelligence because that's really the important stuff. So there's a lot of stuff here that's undiscovered. So we're going to jump into all of the stuff that is now discovered. Monica's lab. Does it tell you which ones you haven't read? Oh, all of these. Okay, so let's just start from the beginning. A note for new hires.
You have been selected to work with extremely confidential data on the basis of your intellect and abilities. New personnel at the Terrigen Initiative are expected to be familiar with all prior findings with regard to the experimental regenerative Terrigen hemoglobin catalyst formula, henceforth the regenerative formula. The company intranet has an archive of all previous research. The applications will become clear, but for the purposes of security and shareholder obligations, we filter our results. The primary goal must always appear to be the complete cure of the inhuman condition through use of the formula, even if your work takes you in another, more important direction. We at AIM have certain expectations of you. Failure to live up to expectations at this stage puts you in a dangerous position, operationally speaking. You have all been through rigorous vetting. We are working with arguably the most important discovery in the history of scientific inquiry. Do not disappoint.
That is like incredibly ominous. And I find it strange that she's so honest. I mean, this is obviously the people that they are recruiting, right? So this is when they recruit everyone. And that she's so honest about the fact that the primary purpose is not to cure Inhumans. Because she says the primary goal must always appear to be the complete cure. So implying that it's not the primary goal. Like, I'd be like, is she just honest like that with all her employees? That's a bit strange. And that she basically threatens them as well. It seems like she's saying that if you don't abide by our rules, if you don't do things the way we want you to do it, we're going to terminate you, kind of thing, which is not very nice at all. So obviously this must be, I don't know how old this is. This must have been when AIM was recruiting all their scientists for work on this Terrigen cure, which is obviously, we know it's not a cure. She's stealing their abilities. I don't know if I can't remember. Is she killing any of them? Who knows? But yeah, here's her personal research on inhumanity. Daisy would love to hear some of these things. She'd be so angry.
Although we must always acknowledge the loss of human life on A-Day, we have been given an unprecedented opportunity, a large-scale human trial on the effects of exposure to Terrigen. Terrigen has an immediate reaction to water, creating a fine particulate mist. For a fraction of human subjects, this Terrigen mist has a profound transformative effect. We have since isolated a mitochondrial DNA shared by this subgroup. Thus far, only those we have dubbed inhuman have entered terrigenesis upon exposure. A closer examination of inhumans is underway, but the early reports are both fascinating and distressing. The genetic distinction in question arise identically from multiple geographically diverse populations. I've tightened the security on these reports, but it seems almost inescapable. At some point in the past, someone or something did this to us on purpose.
So I wonder how this is going to work. If it's like how it is in the TV shows, where the Inhumans were created by the Kree, or whether it'll be something totally different. Maybe we won't even get the answer. Who knows? But yeah, it's interesting. She's digging into the origin of Inhumans. That's it's not good if Monica has that information, obviously, for obvious reasons. Yeah, and then here's some stuff on Terrigenesis, it seems.
Our understanding of terrigenesis continues to increase, with certain commonalities being identified. All inhuman subjects form a protective cocoon around their bodies during the process, though the structure is more akin to a chrysalis. I'm afraid the catchier name has stuck. The gestation period varies wildly, and the mortality rate is still high. But surviving subjects emerge changed, and from there, no two metamorphoses are identical. There also appears to be a psychosomatic component to the mutations, a connection between the consciousness of the subject and the change.
What does that mean?
Work with the regenerative formula on Project Adaptoid advances in parallel, with great strides being made in the mimicry of inhuman abilities. That research group must remain isolated from the rest and away from any diagnostic equipment that would allow study of the regenerative formula itself. This level of secrecy is prohibitive to progress, but the composition of the formula must remain known to me alone.
I wonder why that is. Regenerative formula, what does that mean? We still don't know what this formula is used for, whether it suppresses, because this is not dark Terrigen, is it? It's something else. Was this the stuff she was injecting Tarleton with? Because he certainly got worse. He didn't get better, so I don't know why it's a regenerative formula. But yeah, I was just thinking as I was listening to this, I was thinking about like how you hide your inhumanity when you're in this cocoon stage. Are you just lucky that they don't find you? What happens if they do find you? You know, what happened with Ms. Marvel and Abu? Because the way that he spoke on the phone earlier, it sounded like he always knew she was inhuman. I thought it was a secret. But now I know that he knows. So yeah, did he like? He must have known, must have seen her in the cocoons. Obviously, that's how he knows. But yeah, that's I'd be very curious to see what Ms. Marvel's real origin is, and not just like her origin as a superhero, but her origin as an inhuman. You know, we got some stuff here on test subjects.
The inhuman death rate is concerning, but more worrying is the apparent correlation between the subject's desires and their individual manifestation post-terrigenesis. The more a subject is aware of the program and its risks, the more likely their enhancements will assist them in escape or resistance.
Yes.
We must be cautious. Keeping subjects isolated and ill-informed is the smartest approach. It's also becoming difficult to keep George unaware of the regenerative formula's importance in our research or in his own treatment. Without it, his condition would be terminal. But the formula allows me to direct the course of his transformation, and he remains my most important subject.
What?
He would kill me if he learned the truth.
No ways.
So many little calculated risks, but nothing else matters besides the work. We're on the event horizon of nothing less than total human evolutionary apotheosis, or extinction. Someone has to be the adult in the room and make the hard choices.
What the hell? Since when do we get plot twists in lore and codex entries? That is so insane. I mean, just wow. So previously in the last one, she spoke about psychosomatic effects. I didn't comment on that. I meant to. It's like what does she mean? Like because I know that sometimes people get seizures and it's like psychosomatic. So you'll get seizures anyway, but the severity can depend on your state of mind or whatever. So like, what does she mean by this? But obviously here, when she's talking about like, yes, if they know they're being tortured and their abilities are being used for the wrong reasons, they're obviously going to escape. But she's like being very euphemistic about here. It's just people wanting to escape from a prison camp, right? There's no other way to put it. But yeah, the fact she's experimenting on Tarleton and he doesn't know, and he doesn't know the purpose of the regenerative formula. So there's something else going on here. We keep thinking Tarleton's the bad guy, but it looks like Monica's the one really pulling the strings. I thought she was working for him. I had no idea she was actually the one in charge. That's quite the plot twist. I guess I don't know if we carry on playing this game as if we don't know that, or if like the other character's going to find out at some point. But yeah, that is nutty. I'm shocked by that. Anyway, causality.
AIM has scraped together enough vibranium to continue research into quantum causality for now. If the implications of our early tests are correct, we may be rewriting the common conception of linear time before the decade is out, but we will soon need a new supply. I've made initial overtures to the Wakandan government now that I am in a position to do so, but I don't believe it will amount to much. We will need far more than they will part with, willingly.
You better not attack Wakanda, girl.
Tarleton continues to act like my prominence in public life is something I desired, not something I endure. Before A-Day, I mirrored his resentment at being sidelined by Tony in the Avengers. I let that be our bond, a false longing for credit and fame. As if I didn't manufacture the situation to position myself exactly where I wanted to.
Oh, she's manipulative.
People are always willing to believe that you share the same desires. From there, it's all momentum and inertia. A gentle push here, a single word there. Then you let them do the work and think it was their idea all along. People can be so easy.
Wow, now I understand why everyone's so uncomfortable with Monica. She's so manipulative. She's been planning all of this since the beginning. Geez, it's not even like she just went dark somewhere. She's been a villain all along. I mean, I don't know whether I'm disappointed by that or excited by that. It's kind of interesting because it's like, how did this start? It's more complicated, but it's also a bit disappointing because I wanted to see her like tragic fall, but maybe that is very cliche. So I'm curious what they do with this. Okay, diagnosis. Sounds interesting.
I have enough of a foundation in psychiatry and human behavior to diagnose and categorize my own particular mental illnesses and pathology.
No, that's dangerous. Don't do that, folks.
Deluded. I know that chemistry can render my mind suboptimal, and that I must take responsibility for maintenance. Once, to eliminate the possibility of confirmation bias, I hired the best psychologist I could find and allowed unfettered access. I could tell she was horrified, but she hid it well. It was a waste. She refused to believe that I was not made who I am by trauma. She needed so badly for there to be some answer, a clear causation to my need to control, a reaction to a stimulus. The real answer, of course, scared her too much to consider. I'm a shadow without a light source. Trauma didn't make me. I made me. In my position, with my resources and abilities, how could I not do what I have done? It would be an abdication of my responsibility to my species not to. I had her killed afterwards, like I had always intended.
Jeez, what is wrong with her? This is... What? Like, okay, like seriously, first off, don't diagnose yourself with mental illnesses. Like, if you think you got something, go see a professional. Seriously, like... Just because you know a bit about psychiatry and human behavior doesn't mean you can diagnose yourself. And in fact, doctors themselves don't diagnose themselves. They go to other doctors. There's a reason. We are not unbiased when it comes to ourselves. But yeah, I'm also kind of like, what is this? Are they trying to say she's like, I don't know, a psychopath or something? I don't know how I feel about that, about how they're talking about this. I don't know. I just wish they would like be like clear and not like talk between the lines like this. Like, what are they trying to say about her character? Is she a psychopath? Is that what they're implying? This is really weird. I don't know what's going on with her. If so, then she's manipulated everyone really, really well. And but I'm a bit disappointed. It would have been more interesting if they didn't go down that path. But I don't know how you guys feel about it. Maybe you feel differently. Maybe it doesn't bother you. But for me, it does because I mean we've seen the psychopath tropes so many times, right? I'm not even sure how accurate that is to real life. Do people like this actually exist? I don't know. Um, I don't know. They probably do. I mean, like, there's all these stories about them ending up in prison and being behind like serial murders and things. It's just such a difficult subject. Like how to handle it with care and like respect. I don't know. So yeah, let me just move on and not say anything more about that. We got something here on new data. This is probably going to be about. Um, oh no, this is about her. Okay.
I avoid intoxication. Social situations demand that I sometimes put on a show, but I am not in the habit of relinquishing control without getting something in return. That's out the window tonight. Just received the final report from the archaeology teams. Every geographic site we've linked to inhuman origins shows the same signs. Unmistakably extraterrestrial.
Yeah, the Kree.
This changes things. If they've been here once. I've opened a bottle, locked the doors, and blacked out the security system long enough for me to sink into oblivion for an evening. I deserve it. I am so lonely. I don't need something so trite or squalid as companionship. What I need is the one thing I cannot have. Someone I can depend on. I'm so tired of doing this alone. I just need there to be more of me.
Wow.
I don't blame the rest of them for resisting what AIM must do. Not everyone can see what's coming. If they understood what I was doing and why, they would try to worship me. But no. They must be dragged, kicking and screaming into salvation. I accept that.
She really needs to see a psychiatrist and a psychologist. I mean, she's talking about loneliness and how there's no one out there except her who can be as good as her. I mean, like, yeah, okay, this girl needs help, you know? I mean, obviously, I think we have to be a bit more strategic about it because otherwise she's just going to kill the psychologist afterwards, which she's previously done, which is not great. But I mean, just listening to this, it's like there's a little bit in here that makes me feel a bit sad for Monica, you know? I don't know what it is that's pushing her so hard, that's making her feel so alone, but she's like so disconnected from everyone else. You can just see it in the way she talks about it. She talks mechanically about herself, like social situations demand that I sometimes put on a show. Like that's just very mechanical. No one talks like that, you know, unless like you're disconnected from the situation. So yeah, and she's kind of mind blown about the extraterrestrial thing. So what is she trying to do? Is she trying to prepare Earth to fight against aliens? Is that what this is about? That this is the reason she's doing all these unspeakable things is because she's convinced she has to prepare for some kind of galactic war because the aliens that made the Inhumans will be back, and maybe that's why she thinks Inhumans are so evil. Maybe she's worried that they're meant to be part of the Kree army or something. Oh man, this actually did just get really interesting. I'm so fascinated by this. I feel like I need to know more what her motivation is. What's actually happening? Because this is very deep, unsurprisingly. I mean, surprisingly deep. What am I saying? Surprisingly deep. Yeah, so let's check out what else we got here. With some A-Day preparations. I think we've listened to most of these. Interview with Captain America Part 1. Oh, he's talking to Phil Coulson, right? Oh, no, it can't be Phil Coulson. It's got to be the guy on TV. Whatever his name is, Phil Sheldon or something like that.
Phil? Well, first, thanks for inviting me to come on your show to set the record straight. As the world grows more complex, the dangers we face have adapted. We can no longer take a localized approach to protecting this nation or the world. The Avengers must become a global organization. Our new West Coast headquarters is just the first step. As for the Chimera, and I apologize if I get this wrong, but people much smarter than I am have explained it's powered by the Stark patented Terrigen reactor, capable of generating clean, efficient power. Not only will we be more mobile and more able to react to danger, We're working toward improving the world in peacetime as well as in crisis.
I actually think we've listened to this set before. So we had this thing where the game crashed on us and I lost all of the Codex progress and I totally forgot about that until now. I think we've listened to this. Just having a look through it. To Monica from Hank Pym. I don't think we heard that. That's new because we didn't know Hank Pym existed until recently. So let's listen to that.
I don't appreciate Stark Industries setting roots in my own backyard without so much of a courtesy call. Tony loves to play this all off like the natural growth of the Avengers, but this whole thing reeks of his ego, just like the inside of his tin tux. I know you're working closely.
That's Iron Man suit.
And I don't want to sour your working relationship, but sometimes you'll find you just need to outmaneuver him, or else he's always going to construct a scenario where he's the hero on center stage.
This is to Monica.
Pym Technologies has been in the region doing similar work on clean energy generation, but he never even bothered to talk to us because it's all about him, not about the science. And the public will eat it up. Anyway, I'm ranting. I'm glad you reached out, Monica. You could use someone who knows Tony and what he's capable of in your corner. I just want to make sure he doesn't take advantage of you. He's good at that. Hank Pym, Pym Technologies.
Wow. So he was with Monica at the beginning before the whole A-Day thing happened. Obviously, something happened after that I think now he clearly knows that she's bad because now she did something to him where he can't use his powers anymore without dying. So, yeah. And then we had this one about Hulk not liking flights. The Avengers disband. What is this? These are excerpts from the hearings. We've listened to that. Just having a quick look through this. We had that. We had that. We had that as well. That was S.H.I.E.L.D. agents discussing how S.H.I.E.L.D. is disbanding. Here we got the rise of AIM. We listened to all of this. This was like all of the prologue stuff. Yeah, we've listened to this. I'm pretty sure we listened to that. Okay, that was Rise of AIM, Kamala's fan fiction. We only listened to the first one. I was pretty sure we had some others. But it's not here. It's in another section for some reason. I do remember that. Okay, Talton's Lab. Ooh. No, hang on. Didn't we listen to this? You didn't like something about Hawkeye? Yes. Yeah, it was a reference to Hawkeye, who, by the way, is apparently coming to this game. At some point, Clint Barton will be here. So I'm excited for that. And what else we got here? We got Taskmaster and AIM. We listened to T-Masters before all of this started. So we've definitely listened to that. Jersey City. Oh. Oh yeah, no, this was when she was testing herself and she was worried she had. And then, yeah, here was the weird sewer lizards thing in the wrong place. So we definitely listened to that. And then Stark Acquisition. Flag any offers involving Stark Industries. What? Let's listen to this.
You asked me to flag any offers involving Stark Industries holdings on auction. There is a new startup based out of Nevada called MythSign, who have made a rather large offer on several of the lots. We've done our due diligence. MythSign looks legit. I don't see any reason why we should refuse their offer, except for their interest in lot ST-7981, which you had listed as a potential target of Mr. Stark. It contains the contents of his personal office acquired in the merger. MythSign asked if it could be sent separately from the other shipments. We're waiting on your authorization now.
Okay, so this must be to Monica Rappaccini. They're obviously trying to get hold of all of Stark's stuff when they first disbanded everything. And then Banner's Descent. Yes, this was talking about the crystals when they were first starting it. I'm pretty sure we listened to this. Something's different. Let's listen to this one. I don't think we listened to this one.
Such an absurd thing to worry about. Too happy. Like the punchline to a vaudeville joke. But there's a clear correlation. These last few weeks have been some of the happiest in memory. No, not happy. Content. Working with the others. Finally finding a purpose to what I thought was a curse. It's what I imagine coming home feels like. But it's affecting the Hulk. He's different.
He talks so slowly.
More reticent to come when I need him, just by a moment.
Or like coming slowly, like not
enough that
coming
anyone
immediately?
else would notice, but I do. I've reviewed the after report footage, and I swear, he seems smaller somehow. Perhaps a step slower. There's an emotional complexity to him that I didn't want to acknowledge. We're tied together. Emotions flow both ways, and now that balance has shifted. Contentment isn't the opposite of anger. It's the absence.
Okay. Maybe.
So, that's my new anxiety. If I keep getting better, could he vanish entirely?
Could you speak any slower? Like Bruce really talks slowly. I don't know if that's on purpose or what, but it takes a lot of time to listen to him. That's really interesting. So Hulk has been getting more emotionally complex, and Bruce doesn't know what to do about that. Was this because it's not too clear from the reference here. It says working with the others. I don't know. Is this now or is this before AJ? Or it's so hard to tell because the previous one was before AJ. So hard to know. Monica and Bruce. Oh no. Oh, we gotta listen to this.
Bruce, I already made a bit of a fool of myself at our first meeting. I hope you won't hold it against me if I continue that trend. Can you blame me for being a little overwhelmed by my present company? You and Tony have been absolutely welcoming, and I wanted to thank you for making a difficult situation as frictionless as possible.
Meanwhile, she's planning in the background.
I know that Dr. Tarleton can seem a little frosty, but he's privately told me that he's grateful for your magnanimity. It's been a hard transition for the both of us, adapting to the pace at which the Avengers work, but I promise that we're up to the challenge. You mentioned coffee earlier, and if that wasn't just a performative pleasantry, I'd like to call your bet and raise you. Let me take you to dinner. You're new in town, and I never go out, so it'll be a novelty to us both. Name the time, Dr. Banner. I'm game.
Oh, she knew exactly how to manipulate him. This is like if you say this to Bruce, he's obviously gonna fall for you. This is it. Oh goodness, Monica, you've been planning from the start. That's so manipulative. I'm hurting for Bruce on his behalf. Oh gosh. Yeah, we've seen this. This is about Golden Acres. So now my question is, how do I find the rest of these? Do they pop up randomly? Do we collect them during missions? Am I not looking hard enough? Can I go back and find them? These are really good questions. But yeah, so now we got a whole bunch of enemies here. I feel like these are all enemy types. I'm starting to recognize these, you know? I know these guys are the laser guys, and these are the baton guys, and these are the easy guys. They each have their own fighting style. So it's like as you get used to them, it's pretty cool. These ones explode when they get close. So, and these ones as well. So yeah, there's a lot of really interesting enemies here. Riot bots, these are like the shield guys. What, stiletto? Oh, they have shields and swords. Right. Don't vault overhead, you'll get hurt. I do remember that. And then we got all these guys with the guns, the flyers, and all these things. It's interesting. Like, it felt like there were so many enemies in the beginning. And I guess there still is a variety. There's so many enemies we haven't encountered yet. But you start to get the hang of it slowly and, like, start to learn the best ways to fight them. I still don't know how to fight these big guys, really, because you fight them very seldom. And they're very hard when you fight them. You really have to watch your health. Adaptoids are actually fun. They're interesting because if you fight them correctly, it's actually easy to fight them. You just have to be very alert. And unlike the gigantic ones that I was just speaking about, which will like charge right at you and knock you straight over, these guys you can like dodge around and actually, especially with Black Widow, you can easily fight adaptoids. But adaptoids are hard to fight. I mean, not adaptoids, the gigantic mechs, whatever you call them. These things, exos, are hard to fight if you're a fast character like Black Widow. You can fight them better if you're Hulk, because he just runs in and smashes things. But I find adaptoids to be the most fun to fight so far out of all the enemies. Got a bunch of mercenaries here. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm recognizing these now. These are bosses. Oh, Monica. Oh, we're going to still fight 3 more bosses? Okay. So we're halfway through our bosses, I guess. This is a really fun boss, I'm not going to lie. And fighting it as Black Widow was really, really cool. Abomination was okay. I actually can't remember. Abomination was so early on, I can't remember him. Taskmaster I remember him very well because we fought him as Black Widow right at the beginning. So it was like our first boss. So I remember him very well. These guys, they're all dog themed. Are these those guys that hunt Inhumans? What are they called? Watchdogs. There we go. Yeah. All these locations. The Anthill. Okay, we haven't read this one. Affectionately known as the Anthill by its own inhabitants, this series of caves deep beneath the Utah Badlands acts as the Resistance headquarters. Accessible only by the portal powers of the Inhuman twins, Theo and Cerise, the Anthill is a safe haven for those who have escaped AIM's black site prisons. Dr. Hank Pym is slowly expanding the base with the help of ants he has learned to communicate with. And then Black Mesa, colloquially referred to as simply the prison, Black Mesa is AIM's secret inhuman containment and testing facility. Few know the true scope of dark dealings done behind these walls, but those who have escaped describe terrible experiments and mistreatment at the hands of AIM researchers. And then the Chimera Reborn, this is where we are now, obviously with holes in the windows because everyone's beating each other up. With Tony Stark's help, the Avengers now have a fully operational and airborne base of operations in their fight against AIM. The Chimera contains advanced surveillance technology designed to track AIM's movement and activities. And then Golden Acres, we've been there. I don't know why it's saying we haven't, but we've definitely read that. And then Regions, we've read that. We've read the Eastern Seaboard and Pacific Northwest and Utah Badlands. Branded Gear. Hammer Industries, created under the oversight of industrialist billionaire Justin Hammer. Oh my goodness, this guy. I miss him so much. Oh, he was so funny in Iron Man 2. What's his name? The name of the actor? Oh, he's the best. He's in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He's just so funny. And he's also in Moon. If you guys can watch Moon, that's a really good movie. It's funny at times, but it's also really sincere and heartfelt. It like bounces back and forth between a comedy and a serious movie. It's really good. Oh, just like Jojo Rabbit. He was in Jojo Rabbit as well. And that was a phenomenal movie. I love that. Anyway, Justin Hammer, gear bearing his brand is focused on gaining the advantage in hand-to-hand combat situations. Pym Technologies, developed by Dr. Hank Pym, gear that bears his brand is focused on maximizing damage to enemy weak points. In order to keep the peace, S.H.I.E.L.D. needs to ensure its agents stay safe. Gear that bears the S.H.I.E.L.D. brand has been engineered to increase defensive strength in order to protect the wearer from harm. And then Stark Industries, modeling Stark Industries branded gear after technology developed for his personal arsenal. Tony Stark has created a line of gear that focuses on effectiveness at a distance. So this is like distance gear, defensive strength, damage to weak enemies. So critical strikes, I guess. I don't know. And hand-to-hand combat. I don't know how that's relevant. It's probably just like random small things. One codex set we haven't discovered. And then it's still giving me alerts for these comic sets, which are still not loading. So Z view stats. That doesn't help. I don't know what to do about these comics, guys. If you ever figure out why they're like this, if you guys have this problem as well, let me know. But yeah, where is the screen where we can see our character? We got so many campaigns going on here, right? Step 24, jeepers. We really have gone pretty far in all of this. There's a lot of cool mission chains here. what I wanted to find was the screens, and I know it is. Okay, so that's it, and it was an interesting lore episode, especially learning about Monica. We learned a lot about her. I'm really curious to see what they do with her and where they take it. And let me know if you guys have any suspicions. Obviously, if you've played all this before, don't spoil it for anyone, but I'm happy to, like, you know, discuss theories in the comments or whatever, you know, how whatever you think about what Monica is doing, her motivation, whether you think maybe she's a psychopath or what. I don't know what they're doing with that whole thing. I'm nervous to say much about it because I don't know what's the correct way to speak about these things. You know, mental health problems are a difficult subject for many people, and I don't want to say the wrong thing, but certainly I'm curious what they're doing with that and want to see where they take it. Yeah, so that's it for the lore episode, and I'll see you guys next time on Marvel's Avengers. I think we're diving in with Black Widow because I love her so much and I haven't played with her enough, and I'm so excited to have her on the team. So I will see you guys next time on Marvel's Avengers. Until then, stay safe and stay super. Bye for now.